Boom.
Did a dab right away?
Yeah, it had to be done.
I love it, man. That's not even in style anymore, is it? Who does dabs anymore?
Spontaneous dab.
Spontaneous dab, exactly. We're back.
In.
Exactly. So what we're going to be talking about today is about health and fitness, basically. So so I think what we're going to start off with is pretty much our backgrounds in health and fitness.
Yep.
So how we've done it pretty much all our lives, how we got into it.
Yep.
So I don't know if you want to start.
I was going to ask you, what's like your first recollection of training?
Interesting. What, just training in general, like physical
activity?
activity?
I guess running, because obviously used to like athletics or weight training. What do you reckon when you first started getting into it?
Into fitness, I'd say when I was in primary school, I think, because when you're in primary school, I think that's when they pretty much kind of put you into different types of activity, different types of sports. So I'd say it was it was rugby, actually, funny enough.
Rugby, yeah.
So I think I was about, 9-10 years old, 11 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know the ages in primary school, I forgot. But I'd say tag rugby, that's what it was at first. It wasn't the proper rugby, but tag rugby.
Yeah.
And with that, it was, obviously, I'm sure you know how tag rugby goes. For those of you that don't, what it is basically simply just playing rugby, throwing a ball and everything, but without tackling. Instead, you're just like pulling a tag that's located.
It's like touch rugby.
Touch rugby. And you've got like two tags on both sides of your hips. I got really good at that. And then literally, so they then chose like a squad to go to Twickenham.
Oh shit!
So we were part of like this thing called Josh Lucy Academy.
Yeah, I remember Josh Lucy.
So Josh Lucy's he's an England rugby player. So he was really good actually. Really cool guy as well. So with Josh Lucy, he brought us to Twickenham. We were playing basically at half time. So I think it was at Oxford versus Cambridge.
Okay.
And I believe we wouldn't have played half time, that had been ages. But we played I think before the game.
Right.
And it was a surreal experience, man.
Yeah, that's dope.
And it's fitness as well, man, because you're doing a lot of running as well. So it was so that was really cool. But then when I transitioned into secondary school, in which I went to school that was literally rugby based, like they were all about rugby.
Yeah, same at my school.
Yeah, exactly. So like proper rugby specialised school. The first 2 or 3 training sessions that we did, I started playing. I was really enthusiastic. I was like, you know what, I might be a rugby player. That's my thing. Broke 3 fingers straight away.
Oh shit!
Yeah, dude, broke 3 fingers. Literally.
Do you remember how?
So I don't know if it was the rugby, because you don't even know, because the adrenaline's so high when you're playing the sport.
Yeah, true.
So it was either when I was going in to make a tackle and my fingers were out. So I think went into somebody and my fingers like bent into somebody, like into their hips.
Ooh.
Yeah, or it was when I was catching the ball. It might have actually just been the ball itself.
Yeah, just like hit the tip of your fingers.
Exactly, because you forget how pumped the ball is, and sometimes it can just hit the tibia, like you say, and it doesn't go well. So straight away stopped that, and then from there I decided, you know what, rugby's not for me, because my mum was shouting at me saying, I don't want you playing this sport anymore, you're going to get injured so much, I don't want you playing this, she's thinking about concussions and everything as well.
Yeah.
So they then were doing like kind of athletics and like running, so they put me in like the lowest set for sports basically. So I was with all the guys that hated sport basically.
Really?
And I was that one guy in there that was like, that obviously did a lot of sport around that time. And then they saw the way I was running during the bleep test. And I was like going crazy on it, like without training, nothing. And then they decided, you know what, let's put him in like athletics. And then from there I went outside of school and decided, you know what, athletics is probably my thing. So I went to basically in my area, in my house, in my land, started running there properly, and got into it and started becoming like an 800 meter runner basically. So
pretty legit 800 meter runner, to be fair.
I hope so, man. So I was competing a lot. I was like obviously traveling a lot to do competitions around London, and dude, it was probably the best training I ever had, no doubt, in my entire life. Training like running is it's incredible. It's crazy. Like if you want to talk about a type of training that makes you have that kind of head high afterwards, that kind of boost, it's got to be running, man.
Yeah.
Because your heart rate is always at a high.
Yeah.
The different types of training that we're doing, like pyramid training, just no matter what, every time you're going to do 800 meter running, especially because it's a mix of sprinting and the kind of long distance together.
It's a tough race, man.
Yeah.
I used to do 800 as well, not at your sort of level. Like I didn't specifically train for it. I just used to do it at school.
Yeah.
But like I reckon low key, maybe I'm biased, but it's like legit the hardest race, man. Because
Yeah.
you're literally running like a 400 meter pace almost twice.
Yeah. People forget, man, it's
you're
lactic
sprinting
acid.
for like 800, like
Literally.
it's fucked.
People forget it's literally lactic acid, because you go, the first 400, most of my races, I remember I used to be really cocky and like go right to the front and expect myself to be okay for the next round, for the next lap. And the lactic acid always kicks in around about 400 to 600 meters. and after that you just can't feel your legs anymore.
Yeah.
And that's when your coach is shouting, you saying, and this is where it's all technique, and they're saying to you, move your arms. Like your arms will, it's weird. Like you think to move your arms, and then your legs just kind of carry with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely the most intense part of my life when it came to sport, because it was just Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Just training whenever I can, basically. It was just running constantly, man. No body fat, just running.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, pretty much I think that's kind of like a quick summary of what it was for me. A lot of sessions of just throwing up, a lot of sessions of just competing and just trying to get better. And yeah, dude, mentally wise, it was crazy, man. I felt so good after every session. Yeah. It's weird, like you couldn't breathe, but then maybe like 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, you'd have that kind of your mood boost, like it just intensifies in your head, like the serotonin levels, everything. I'd come home and I'm just like fired up. It's like 10 in the evening, I'm like running around the house, like it was an awesome feeling, man.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird, like how much more energetic you feel after exercise. Yeah. Even though you should be like, well, a lot of the time you're wrecked, like initially.
Yeah.
But then afterwards it's like those endorphins kick in and you feel like good as.
It's the best thing ever, man. Yeah. Exactly. But all right, anyways, what about you?
Well, dude, I was playing rugby since I was 6, so I was like straight into it, no mucking about.
6?
Yeah, man.
How the hell did you get in that early?
I don't know. I remember my dad was like, "Right, pick a sport, football or rugby."
Damn. And they did like touch rugby similar to how I did.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then I was playing from 6 right until I was 18. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like I always obviously was playing rugby, but even then on the side, I was always keen on like fitness. Like I remember I always used to be very conscious about the way I looked as a kid. So like I'd read like magazines on how to get a 6-pack in 6 weeks.
Yeah,
and all that shit.
Men's health and all that stuff.
Yeah, so I was like doing ab workouts at home, and then I'd go for like runs like before school and stuff to try and get as fit as possible. Like I was fucking skinny as man. Like I used to be pretty good at like long distance running.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like pretty lean, pretty skinny kind of build.
So did you carry on doing the long distance, or did you stop that?
Well, obviously I don't do it as much now.
Yeah, no, of course.
But and then I was pretty lucky as well actually, because when I was 14, 15, I joined Harlequins, and then like
Jesus, dude.
Yeah, so
that's very good.
So they it was really good. Like I was super lucky because when I was like 14, 15, I used to have to travel there once a week, and they teach like all the compound movements. So by the time I was 14, 15, like I had squatting down pat, deadlifts, like all those kind of big movements with barbells and stuff.
How old were you then?
That's what I was like 14, 15, I think.
That's quite young. Man.
Yeah. I think I was probably 15. So that's why I probably had a bit of an advantage. Like I've known from quite a young age.
For sure.
Technique-wise, how to perform those kind of exercises. And then from then on, after I stopped playing rugby, I just got proper into weights training.
I can imagine. But did they never say, because I remember when I was running, and I remember my coach even used to say, watch out doing heavy weights. Obviously, not only to make sure I've got a very slim, like kind of a light frame, but they always said like it stunts your growth if you lift at a young age.
I think, I don't know the ins and outs. I think scientifically they've sort of said it's not as bad as like people think in terms of stunning growth and that when you're like 15 and above. But even then, when I think about it, the weights we were doing, it was mainly like just the bar.
Yeah.
And it would be like just to, like I said, hone in on technique. We weren't trying to get as strong as possible, as big as possible at that age. You'd be surprised, to be fair, though, some of the size of some of the dudes at that age. Like
some of them just hit puberty like crazy.
Yeah, it's mad, dude. Like when I think back, I'm like, fuck, they're like 15, 16, they're like already got like a fair chunk of muscle.
Scary, innit?
But yeah, it was more just like I said, honing in on technique and making sure we perform the exercises safely, rather than just lobbing like 200 kilos on the bar and trying to get as big as hell.
Okay, fair enough. So you continued doing that, and to what point did you how did you get to your prime? How did you get to that point where you're like, okay, cool, I think I might actually get further with this?
With rugby?
Yeah.
Probably when, just as I finished secondary school, so I was going into college. That's when I went into like Wasps Ace, and that's like full on like training, like academy level rugby. So like
you play for the Wasps, like academy.
Yeah, Wasps Ace. So I'm sure I told you that.
Not for Wasps. I didn't know. Like, so you had Harlequins, Wasps. So these are like top clubs.
Yeah. I thought I told you that. Fuck.
No.
So I don't really talk about it, but yeah. So basically, like we would train like a professional team. Yeah. It was crazy, man. So like
they are a pro team basically, aren't they?
Well, they are. Yeah. Obviously, I was academy,
right?
So we didn't have professional contracts and stuff. But yeah, we would train like Mondays. We'd be doing speed training, weights training. Tuesdays we'd be doing like team runs, going for all the drills, the moves. Wednesday would be game day. Thursday, if we had a game on the Wednesday, would be like recovery, stuff like that. Friday would be like strength and conditioning. Again, going for like drills and stuff like that. So it was full on, man. We were training like 5 days a week whilst doing normal college A levels.
Jeez.
Yeah, so it was pretty full on. And then I don't know, I just kind of lost my love for rugby a bit. I think as well, if I'm honest, I didn't really fancy put my body on the line as much anymore.
Interesting.
And I got changed positions, which didn't really suit me. I think, again, I didn't really enjoy rugby as much anymore when that happened. So I moved from 9 to 10. And when I was having like fucking 100 kilo lads running at me, I was like, nah. not a bit of me, to be fair.
So did you never consider maybe moving teams at all or anything like that? And
not at the time, because I was just so keen to play academy rugby. And like the opportunity, man, it was like the highest level you could play in England. So like, I don't know if people have ever had like the Daily Mail Cup, when like all the schools.
What my school did, yeah.
So basically, the ace teams weren't even allowed to enter the Daily Mail Cup because they would just annihilate all like the private schools and.
Right, so they wanted to make it an equal ground.
So basically the private schools and normal schools and grammar schools would do the Daily Mail Cup, and then the ace had their own league. And we would do like a cup for that. So that's what I mean. Like, and like, the teams that would win the Daily Mail Cup, like not to brag or anything, but we'd pump them like 40-50 nil. Because we train together all day, every day. So, it's to be expected really. But and then obviously after that, I just got really into weight training, like OCD, like friggin' weighing out meals, like for a good. When I quit rugby, I was doing more, just weight training, trying to get as big as possible. And then when I went to Oz, probably from about 19 to 21, that's when I was like, over the top, sort of like weighing out every single meal, like eating certain things at certain times. I wasn't even doing competitions either.
I was about to say, were you doing it purely just to look better? I mean,
I think it was probably like a bit of body dysmorphia, man. Like I just wanted to be like as big and as shredded as possible. Because I wasn't even doing competitions, and I was still like meal prepping every night, weighing out all my meals. And then like training pretty much every day, not going, hit my social life quite hard as well, because maybe I'd only go out drinking like once a month, if that.
I take it that's when you're, especially if you're in Oz as well. People
that's what I mean.
Like, what are you doing, man?
For like a 19 to 20 year old, that's like unheard of.
That's like the main part of your life where people would expect you to say, YOLO, you only live once. Come on, man, why are you not coming out for a drink?
Yeah, and even on the night, I'd like crack out my protein bar.
Really? Oh my god! I remember you mentioned this.
I'd be like on the D floor with my protein bar.
Decides to bring up. I mean, I've done it as well, but I mean, it depends. I mean, the fact that Mulley, so he basically.
Mine was like without fail.
Yeah.
Like,
wait, you took always a pro.
Without fail, bro.
Jesus Christ! So, do you know what would be a new business idea? We get like bars and like clubs to start selling like grenade bars and like protein shakes and stuff.
100%, mate. Like instead of the toilet where it's like spray no spray no lay, it's like no protein no pussy or something. I don't know.
No protein no pussy.
Something where it's just like cracking out protein bars in the toilets. And
mate,
shit.
oh my god, no Armani, no Punani. What was that? Jesus Christ.
I always wondered in the girls' toilets, did they like say the same thing to the girls?
Oh, true. Actually, do they have? I think they do have somebody there. They must do.
But I wonder if they have little catchphrases where it's like, I don't know,
oh my god,
no Dolce and Gabbana, no dick or something. I don't know.
Whoa,
Like,
Jesus Christ! Oh my god.
Yeah, they must do, man.
Dude, I've given them like $5 before at times, man. I'll just sit there and have conversations with them, man.
I don't think I've ever paid for the older spray and.
You got to pay for the spray, man. Come on.
I don't think I've.
The catchphrases just get you. Well,
I may pay for a lolly once.
A lolly?
Yeah, I think I parted with like 50p once for a lolly.
Jesus Christ.
And that's about it,
yeah, but it's because they always catch you when you go in your worst state there. And that's when you notice when you're like, okay, I'm in a really bad state right now. When you're in the toilet, there's like bright lights, you're like, oh my god, I'm very drunk.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, back to actually talk about health and lifestyle.
That's like the fun opposite.
Yeah, that's exactly. Interesting. Okay, cool. So then you kind of turn into like a bodybuilder / not a bodybuilder because you.
Yeah, it was weird. Like I wasn't like a full-on bodybuilder where I was, taking like heaps of gear and doing competitions, but at the same time I was like doing a lot of weight training.
Right.
And just trying to get like as big and as strong as possible. Damn. And then over the last sort of year and a half, probably 2 years now, it kind of evolved into more doing like weight training and still trying to get as strong as possible and doing like big heavy compound movements, but then complementing that with like Metcon and HIIT sessions where you're really increasing your heart rate, burning a shit ton of
shredding a little bit.
Basically just trying to be a machine, like just as fit as possible and as strong as possible.
Damn. It's interesting that I mean that's what I feel like I could compare as much as I kind of quit athletics or quit it, I mean, I think it's because I was going out a little bit more, I was trying to become more social, but also I was so skinny as well that I started to think, man, I don't like the way I look, like, do you know what I mean? I looked like unhealthily skinny, like I didn't like it at all. So I started to think whether that might have played a part, not only because of the fact that...
What, that's why you were going to weight training?
Yeah, like I started doing more weight training and stuff because I just didn't like when I sent you the photo of me in Cuba on holiday and I'm like just like skinny and lanky and like the perfect kind of, you know, long distance runner, I was just like, I didn't feel like I looked healthy, like I didn't like it. But then at the same time, I remember when I looked at the people I was facing in the races, man, I was just like, you know, they were like a different level, man. You know, because these guys are already doing, you know, for some people that might know how timing works in athletics, but people were doing like 1 minute 55, you know, in 800 meters. Whereas I was still like about 10 seconds above that, which in 10 seconds in running time is a long time.
But even then, like 2:05 is like rapid for 800.
Yeah, it's rapid, but it's tough, man. It's just... Man, you're literally, the beauty of that kind of sport is that you're literally constantly, with your training, you're constantly past your respiratory threshold. So you're past the point basically where you cannot breathe. Like, and it is a great feeling after each session, but my God, like, do you know what I mean? There's times if you forget to have enough sugar or you forget to kind of, you know, eat correctly or you don't come in with the right attitude or mentality, it can mess you up, man. I saw one guy that he was training with us and he had the worst diet. Like, you know, he literally had some chips, I think, for lunch and didn't eat anything. And then our training was around 6 in the evening. And I remember he came in and I was really pushing it for this session, like, against him because we got very competitive. So we did sets of about 10 sets of 200 meters. We had to do about 90%, like just sprinting. Dude, after the session, I just looked at him. He was doing really well, to be fair to him. And I just remember, I just saw him like walking side to side and he just drops on the floor and his eyes start rolling back. I was like, Jesus Christ. And then the coach, first thing she doesn't even come to him first. She goes straight, runs to the machine where they sell the kind of, you know, protein bars or whatever, and starts putting that in his mouth straight away, like,
Really?
Just giving him some sugar, because he just didn't have enough sugar in him. So she was boosting the sugar into him, and, you know, after about 5 to 10 minutes, he kind of came to a little bit. But yeah, man, it's scary.
I think we were quite lucky though in that sense with our backgrounds because fitness is just kind of second nature to us. Whereas obviously a lot of people haven't really experienced, you know, full-on training before, or like if they're trying to get into it later in life, I can imagine it's a bit harder because obviously, like I said, it's not really like second nature. Like we're used to feeling uncomfortable and out of breath, or you know, pushing weights where it's like, okay, I physically can't lift, you know, another bench press or whatever. So I think we're probably quite fortunate in that regard. But one thing I want to talk about as well is like the mental benefits, man. Like, oh my God, like
it's crazy, dude. I think just even purely the example you just said now, because we're so used to fitness, even now my back's been a bit messed up the past few days. I start getting more and more moody each day, like and that's why you're just
without training.
like even now I just went on the treadmill and just did like 10 minutes of just incline walking. I feel 100 times better already. Just sweating, having something, just, you know, getting kind of your sweat off, just feeling better. And because
like you've done something.
That's what I've just done something. Exactly. It's like guilt if I haven't been to the gym in like 2-3 days. But like you say, that's just second nature to us because we're used to feeling that prime optimal level of feeling good and feeling like we've achieved something each day.
100%. I kind of feel sorry for people who don't train because they're kind of missing out on that. Like obviously if you physically can't train, like, you know, due to certain injuries or conditions, then fair enough. But I think when your body can, you know, physically train and go through weight sessions or cardio sessions, like, it's just, I feel like you're just missing out on so much. You know, you don't really realise.
Exactly. That's why we want to get as many people into it as possible, pretty much. I think the interesting, when you said you did the rugby and then you moved to transition to the kind of bodybuilding type, whatever your kind of training you were doing, what made you feel better mentally? Was there a point where you felt rugby made you feel better, or was it the gym, do you think? Or is it just kind of everything the same?
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like the training side of rugby I've always loved, and I think that's why I ended up sort of parting ways with it in the end, because I got to the point where I realised I actually prefer training than playing the matches and, like I said, putting your body on the line. And, like, you know, nothing against rugby players, like, you know, awesome if they've gone professional and it's an awesome sport, but for me I was just like thinking as well, I was like, man, like just the amount of damage you do to your body as well, like for me it wasn't really worth it. Like I know people now who played rugby and they've had to retire early because their knees are absolutely busted or their spine's wrecked, or, you know, their shoulders have dislocated numerous numbers of times. Like people don't really, you know, probably know as much about the injuries and
concussions and whatnot.
So for me, I guess I was kind of fortunate that I got out of it at that age, and then just started going into that weight training. I love the process of training, getting stronger, putting on a bit of size, and just trying to get as fit as possible. So I think for me, like I said, that kind of made me realise I prefer training more than the actual games.
Yeah.
So I think training, I get a higher buzz from it.
I feel like it saves your life pretty much, man. Like just mentally, it's one of those things you can't live without anymore.
Yeah, like I was saying to you the other day as well, like it's crazy no matter what situation I've been in life, like whether I'm having a great time in life or I'm having a super shit time in life, or things are just cool and they're okay. Like I've always kept training, and that's one thing that's definitely kept me going. Like I was telling you that kind of deep story.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah.
But no, it's interesting though now when I look back on it, because so basically, to give a bit of background, so when I was in Australia, I was working in recruitment. I had a really good job. I was earning really good money, probably more money than I'd ever earned before. I had a really nice girlfriend at the time, and basically I had like a car, everything. And from like an outsider perspective, you'd look at me and be like, wow, that guy's doing really well. He must be really happy. He must be killing it. And I've never been so miserable in my life. Like the girl I was with, and everything's like, don't get me wrong, she's a lovely girl and that. But for me, for some reason, like internally, I wasn't like fulfilled. I wasn't satisfied, and I think I was quite out of shape at that time. Like I was still training, but I think because I was in a job I didn't really enjoy, and I was sat down a lot. I was
sat in a cubicle basically, like in a little box,
I was like putting on quite a bit of weight. And I wasn't like doing cardio at that point. I was just doing weight training. So again, like I said, I was carrying like a fair bit of weight around my stomach, man. And I'll never forget, dude. Like, so we were looking for an apartment at the time together, and we went to like this apartment block, probably like 30 stories up. And this guy was like showing us around the apartment, and then we went like out onto the balcony to like look at the view and all that sort of shit. And basically, like I'll never forget, dude. I was on the balcony, and she was stood next to me, and then he was like stood on the other side of me. And it was so weird, dude. I remember looking over the balcony. I was looking at the ground. I was just like, man, I'm just fucking done, eh? Like I was just checked out. I don't know. It was so weird. Like I just felt so unfulfilled in life. I just didn't give a shit anymore. And I was just like, I was gonna jump. I was literally like, so tempted to just be like, fuck it, and just jump. And I was like visualizing it as well. Like,
really?
Because I was like,
Did you not think about the repercussion?
Well, that's what obviously stopped me.
Wow.
Wouldn't be having this conversation now.
Yeah.
But I don't know, dude. It was so weird. Like I was just so. It almost felt like it would have just been a weight lifted off my shoulders. I was just like, whatever, man. Like I just can't be arsed anymore. I'm just so miserable. But I felt like I had everything I've ever wanted. Like I said, I had a cool girlfriend, lots of money. Nice car, looking for a new apartment. I still wasn't satisfied, and to me that like proves a point where it's not all about money, success, and all these things that is kind of portrayed out there. I think for me, the most happiest I've ever been is when I'm just training and I feel fit and healthy and I'm enjoying what I'm doing, like in terms of a job and stuff like that. I think that's when it kind of hit home where I was like, and obviously I'm so glad I didn't do it.
Good to have you here, mate.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be here. But like it's just so weird that it's just that one moment I was like, fuck, man, I need to change something. Like,
so because I wouldn't put it down to obviously exercise being the full factor in which that saved that.
I think it played a big part though.
Okay.
Because when I think about it now, like for me, I'm not talking for everyone. Everyone has different kind of things that satisfy them. But for me, like I look at my life now, like I transitioned from recruitment into personal training, took a bit of a hit financially on that because obviously, career change and you've got to build up a client base. And even when I was going through that transition, immediately I just felt so much happier, like so much more fulfilled in what I was doing, and I could train a lot more. I felt a lot fitter and healthier.
Yeah.
So I think, definitely for me, like exercise, it just kind of hit home where I was like, I just need it in my life, man. And like even, sorry to bang on a bit.
I agree.
Even like when I got back from Australia, so I basically got kicked out of the country there because of my visa ran out and stuff. I had to like sell all my possessions, had to sell my car, like everything in my bedroom, all the furniture gone, clothes gone. I was living back home with my mum when I was like 24. I was like, fuck, mate, like I've literally just gone, 20 steps backwards and I've got to start all over again in a different country in the middle of nowhere. I was like living in this place called Whitehaven in the Lake District, which is like, nothing there.
I feel like I've heard of that place though.
Yeah. Nothing there, bro. And but again, the whole thing that kept me going was gym, man.
Just training.
Yeah,
so you're training over there as well and everything.
Yeah. So there was like a gym there where she lived, and I was just like every day I was like, boom, gym session a day. Yeah. Afterwards, I feel really good, really pumped, feel like I'm doing something with my day. And even then, I didn't even have a job and stuff. So I think it definitely plays like.
It gave you that like kind of mental clarity. But I think
I feel like it just makes you feel fulfilled and satisfied. It makes you feel like you're doing shit. Like
Yeah.
if you're pumping out some big weights, or you're, you know, smashing out a hardcore run or a big hit session, and really sort of burning through some calories, cracking up a sweat, getting out of breath. Like it just makes you, those endorphins release, and you're like, you feel almost like worthy of life. As weird as that sounds, like.
No, I agree. It's like it's biologically, it's like toughening up your brain. So like then like stress doesn't become the most central problem. Though it doesn't become like, you know, stress has less of like a central impact, I'd say. You know, and I think when I finished university, you kind of have that phase where you just don't know what to do with your life. Everyone goes through that. It's like, you know, it's like pressure. You're like, I've got my degree now. What do I do now? Do you know what I mean? Even if you don't have a degree, you kind of get to that point of adulthood where you're like, what's the next step?
What's my purpose?
What's my purpose in life? Exactly. Even though you should never know that by then, anyways. I remember that's when I then came back to the kind of leisure centre that I was working at.
Yeah.
And I just carried on training, man. Like, even though I wasn't working as much there, I just worked there just to keep the membership, to keep training.
Yeah.
And even once I got into the sales job, I was like, you know, it's stressful. It's probably one of the most stressful jobs in the sense of just targets. There's constantly like new pressure every day, and I'm waking up thinking about the next thing going on. And I remember, like you say, the thing that kept me going through it, because sometimes it was annoying. I had to do my training. So I'd do my 8-hour shifts. I'd start it off from around 10, 11 in the morning, and then till up about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when I get my hour of training in.
Yeah.
And dude, the difference in the mood levels and everything was crazy.
Yeah.
Once I finished the training and then went on to the next part of the day, it was like I was calm. Everything was calm. Like I knew what I needed to do. I just felt happier as well. And I'd go straight. I remember, I think some trainings I did with you, where I'd go straight from that, have a quick shower, and go to a client. It'd be like the best kind of meeting, and I'd be so much more relaxed.
So pumped.
And if I didn't have that, dude, I don't know how to survive, you know, sitting in an office and...
Yeah, I think as well, one thing with like today's society that really kind of bugs me, especially coming from a recruitment background, like if you're not an alcoholic in recruitment, you're not going to be successful, is their mentality.
Yeah, what's that all about?
I have no idea. But like, I think I look back at it as well, and I think like the amount of times I'd be so pissed off about a deal that didn't go in, or I'd be stressing out about, I need, you know, someone's I'm trying to get hold of isn't answering the phone or whatever. Do a gym session, bam. For that hour and a half, I'm not thinking about anything else other than...
It's clarity, isn't it?
Yeah, and like, it just clears your mind. You go back afterwards and you're just in a better mood. Like you said, you've got a more sort of clear mindset, and it just kind of eradicates that a massive chunk of stress that you had before. Whereas the problem is in society, it's like, oh, I had a shit day, I'm going to go to the pub. And you have a couple pints, you know, you might feel a little bit better when you get a bit of buzz from the alcohol. As soon as you finish off, it's like, oh, I feel shit, I feel lethargic. You know, you're just putting in all this crap into your body. And it's like, don't get me wrong, I love going out for a drink with my mates and stuff, but like, yeah, I just feel if that's like your solution to stress, it's not a great solution.
It's weird. It's like, I think it's even for me, I mean, we've both been there. We've both been in that city job where, I mean, I still am, but where, you know, the Friday and the Saturday, it's weird. It's like a post-work, it's like you have that pint to create that dopamine, to get the feeling like, oh man, I've done it today, I've achieved it. Even though exercise can do the exact same thing, although you have to work a bit for it and then get that kind of...
I think the scary thing in the corporate environment is it doesn't really matter what day it is.
Yeah.
Like they'll be going out to the pub Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
How the hell do they survive? How do they, like, you're right, I'll see people out on Monday or Tuesday, I'm like, how the hell do they do that?
Yeah.
And you're going back to a job in which, in my opinion, I've literally had like panic attacks at work. I'll sit there and realise, what am I doing here? Like, or it's been 2 or 3 days where I haven't trained, funnily enough, and you know, that's where it runs parallel, because I'm just feeling panicky. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, I've got so much going on in my head, and there's so many things happening. It's like training pauses everything. It's like you do the training, okay, cool, you're better now. But those people that go out on a Monday, Tuesday, it's like you've got the hangover, which probably messes up your mood levels and messes up the way...
You don't get as deep as sleep, all sorts of side effects, man.
Yeah, dude.
Destroys all your antioxidants. I think as well, like... Yeah, people just giving the peer pressure, man, because the guys I used to work with used to fucking harass me to go out for drinks. Like, just, come on, man, just come out for a couple of drinks. Just come.
Why do you think that is?
Like, I don't know.
Is that some kind of social acceptance, do you think?
And like, I think it maybe makes them feel better because they know you're not off doing training and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, it kind of makes them feel more justified as to them going out for a drink.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, and this is the problem, I'll see it in, like, when I was working in an office, like, you know, someone will go, come on, come out for a drink, and they'll go, no, I'm good, man. And they'll just go, come on, just one, and they're like, oh, yeah, all right. Just keep saying no, dude. I'm telling you, you'll feel so much better if you're just like, no, mate, like, fuck off. I'm not coming out for a drink. I'm going to the gym. And afterwards, when you get home and you've done a hardcore workout after a day's work, well, not even hard, just a workout after a day's work, and you know sit down, have a meal, watching TV, and you've earned it. It's just like you just feel so much better. Not even just in that moment and that day, but the next day.
Waking up without a hangover is the nicest thing in the world.
You just feel healthier. Like, I just don't get it, man. People just giving the peer pressure too much.
It's interesting to see, and the amount of I get so many examples of this because I work obviously in the corporate area where a lot of people. I've seen people that I've signed up, you know, for the gym. You know, I'm really happy for them. They're gonna start working out, and they even tell me all their goals. And you get the real side of them because you can tell when you have a consultation with them. You can see what they want. That's your job. You're finding out what they want.
Yeah.
So they'll sign up, everything great, and then because they work so close by, I see them most times. And I always wonder, what is it that stops them from training? I always ask them, what brings you here? What is it that normally stops you from being able to come to the gym? You know, they would give some excuses here and there. But then when I would come out of the office afterwards, and they'll tell me they'll train at this time each day, that's their goal, that's when they want to train. I'll come upstairs and the first thing I see is them with a cigarette in their hand and a beer.
Oh, man.
I see it so often, man. And I'll literally see them like hiding with the beer and the cigarette, like, you know, away from so that I don't see them. And I always wonder, what is it that causes that? Because I think one of the main things I try and tell them is go in the morning and do your workout. Don't wait, because some people do, they wait till the evening.
Yeah.
Or they'll say, I'll go in the evening. And that's when you're going to have people, like you say, peer pressure you and say, oh, mate, just come out for one drink, come on.
Yeah.
And you're there with your gym kit, and then once you're so knackered by the end of the day, when
you're just like, screw it, I won't go. Yeah.
Exactly, because you've got no endorphins. If you do it in the morning, the endorphins kick in, that's it.
Yeah.
You're ready for your day, you're set for your day. And most likely, if you've done a workout already, you're going to feel way more guilty about going to the pub afterwards.
Yeah.
But then I see some people that try and leave it till the end of the day.
I think that's a big misconception as well people make. It's like they feel like because you train then you can add that stuff back into your life without the consequences. So i.e. what I mean by that is like, you know, you go for a 5k run, it's like, oh sweet, so now I can have 15 beers and a couple of ciggies and it's not going to have any side effects. Like, no, it's not. I hate to break it to you, it's not really how it works.
I see bodybuilders sometimes that like smoking or like people that probably train on. Like, what's that all about?
Yeah. It's just annoying because I don't feel like people. I don't know. To me, it seems like more common sense, but maybe they don't actually understand. Like, you just because you've done exercise doesn't mean then you can have a crap diet and get away with it. Like, it's still going to catch up with you. And like I said, if you're going to do a session maybe 2-3 times a week, but you're still going to the pub for multiple beers, eating pizza or takeaway food throughout the week as well, like it's just basically counteracting everything you've just done in the gym anyway. And that's, I think, how a lot of people get kind of demotivated because I'm not getting any results, I look the same, or like they might even get worse because, like I said, because they're exercising they feel they can eat more shit than they usually would. True.
So true. I mean,
and that's it's just not how it works, man. Like,
I remember I told you a stat before, and it was like only 10% of people are successful at losing weight through like diet alone. Because I remember it was a national weight control registry. Yeah. They found that 89% who use a common diet and exercise were successful at keeping the weight off for over 1 year. Because they had the weight and the diet.
They complement the training with the diet.
Parallel, exactly. So, and I'm sure you obviously know that as a PT. But some people think that the diet alone will do this, or exactly
just exercise alone will do it. You need it hand in hand, 100%. Like diet probably plays like a 70-80% role, man. Like it's so important.
Yeah.
Like even as well, like not even just eating healthy or little amounts. Like if you're doing weight sessions and stuff, you know, you need the protein and carbs and vegetables to help your body recover, and the fats as well, even like healthy fats. Whereas like, you know, a lot of people, like I said, they'll either go one extreme where they just stop eating at all, and then that's when they end up binging, or they'll go the other extreme where it's like, oh, I've done a weight session, so I'll smash a KFC because it's got heaps of chicken, and it's like, but it's like really fucking bad
it's got protein, even though it's like fried in like the worst
fried
oils,
chicken,
the cheapest oil possible, pretty much.
So I think a lot of people don't really kind of grasp that aspect of it if you're being realistic about it. So
I think there are a lot of things that kind of people perfect, cheers. So I think there's a lot of things that people just I think it's through social media and different types of things that people get that wrong concept of you know what the true way of actually getting fitter is. I think a lot of people get they get stopped from doing it. Like for example, the social media, people see like an exercise program, they'll try it, and then like after about one session they're like, this isn't for me, I can't do this.
Like I think a thing I want to bring up as well, like not to be sort of doom and gloom, I'm just trying to be realistic about things, is you know being realistic about sort of time frame as well.
Exactly.
Like I think people sort of think after 4 or 5 weeks of training they're going to get these insane results where they look like a friggin' professional bodybuilder or fitness model, and again it's just you got to be so consistent and keep training for such a extended period of time over, years. These people would have been training for years, man.
Yeah.
Even if they're on gear or not, they would have been training for years. Their diet would be on point. Like I said as well, I took it to the extreme where I was literally weighing out meals. I wouldn't go out drinking and stuff like that. So if you want to look like that sort of physique, then you kind of have to sacrifice the other part of your life.
You really do.
And I'm not saying obviously people have to do that, but the point I'm trying to make is you kind of just need to be realistic about looking at your lifestyle and what results you can get out of that. So if you want to eat reasonably healthy and go out drinking once a week and have a couple of takeaways a week here and there and then train 4 or 5 times a week, then you're going to get reasonable results.
Yeah.
If you want to go full on, all guns blazing, training 5-6 times a week, weighing out all your meals, being super healthy, maybe having like 1 cheat meal a week, drinking once a month, you're going to get way better results because it's just the way it works.
It's common sense.
I know, I don't get it with fit. It is common sense because like with fitness as well, it's the same as anything in life. It's the same with like, I don't know, if you're starting up a business or working in sales. Yeah, like if you put more time and effort into it, you're going to get better results quicker. It's the same thing with fitness, man. But for some reason, people don't seem to grasp that and they just always want like, these bullshit fat burning tablets or,
oh my God.
or like I said, these crazy programs where, you're going to get 50 kilos lost in 6 weeks, or you do this one exercise and it's going to give you the best results ever. It's just like, no, mate, it's like I said, it's the same as anything else in life, man. You put the time in, you get the results out. You don't put the time in, you don't get the results.
How many clients have you had, or not even how many, have you had any that kind of just been so deep, they have that burst of motivation when they first start and then they get demotivated by the first or second week? Or have you not really had that in your own experience?
I can not necessarily got demotivated, but I think again they're sort of expecting faster results. But like I said, they're maybe training with me twice a week, and I'll sort of talk to them about what they're eating and stuff as well. And then they'll tell me, or they'll admit like, oh yeah, I went out drinking Friday and Saturday. It's like, well, I said, it comes hand in hand.
That's the worst thing for a PT basically. It feels like you're just kind of starting from square one again, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's one point I wanted to make is people just need to be more realistic about the time frame in which you will get results, and also the amount of effort you need to put in to get the results you're looking for. And if you're not willing to do that, that's fine, but just don't expect to get those results.
Do you think some people give themselves like a really crazy intense program that obviously they're not accustomed to? They'll do the first session of it and then they'll just they'll demotivate themselves by trying to do this program, and then they'll be so knackered after, or they'll just try it out and they'll be like, yeah, this isn't for me. And they kind of stop themselves and go back.
Yeah, maybe. I think, like obviously you can't, if you've never trained before, you can't expect to again like jump in and start doing 5-6 sessions a week. You have to build up your work capacity to get to that point where your body's used to doing that. So I think if someone, like I said, is starting from ground zero and they're just like, boom, I'm going to do 5-6 sessions a week, and then they're like, oh, my body's aching, I've got no motivation. It's like, well, yeah, it's to be expected. Again, it's the same as most things. You have to adjust to it and get used to doing that. So
yeah, man. Yeah. It's such an important part of our life, man.
I know.
The more I think about it.
Yeah, it is.
So because I was going to quickly say something about the mental side of it. Funny enough, I just remembered now about when I went to the doctors. Because I was worried about, I don't know if I ever told you, when I was having like crazy like heart palpitations, I was getting like...
No, you never told me this. Can you keep telling the story, because I really need to go for a piss?
I'll go for it, yeah. So I'll start telling it anyways. But what happened was, you've got the worst weakest every podcast, every episode we've done. But what I was going to say was, so about a year and a half ago, I started getting like... There was times, I don't know if it was through the stress at work, but I was getting like more and more kind of... My heart rate was racing, and I felt like I was having like a mini panic attack in which, I wouldn't know what's going on. I'll start getting a bit of, a bit of vertigo. I wouldn't be feeling good, and it was normally in the mornings when I'm about to go to work. So that's when I assumed that it was coming down from pretty much the stress of work or the thought about going into the office. So I decided I'll go to to the doctors, to the GP, and see what is it that's going on. Because I wouldn't really assume that I don't know if it was stress or something going wrong with my heart, I wasn't sure. So when I went there and told them exactly what was happening, they started putting it down to depression or anxiety. I don't know if Mulley can still hear me as I'm telling the story. So yeah, pretty much I went to the doctor just to get a kind of diagnosis to see what it was about.
Oh, that's better.
And it was like the quickest consultation ever, pretty much. And I was assuming it was stress, but then they said, okay, let's do some blood tests. I think they did this trying to check where they check if your heart was, working correctly, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then I came back later, did the blood test, obviously everything was okay. And they just said to me, it just sounds like you have anxiety, from work, because it sounds like, because I get it in the mornings. In the evenings I'm absolutely fine before I go to bed, because it's like I've got nothing ahead of me anymore. But then in the mornings it would hit me the hardest. I'm about to wake up and I get that weird like stomach feeling. I'm like, oh my god, something's not like, and you're like worried and you have that stomach feeling. And so then the doctor said, we'll prescribe you like these tablets or whatever, these depression tablets or whatever, these anxiety pills. They tried to prescribe it to me, and then I looked at them and I was like, I am never taking that, because I know other people that have taken it and they just tell me it just numbs your brain basically.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
And then I went back home, and I think I spoke to one of my friends, and he just said, dude, just exercise more. Just go for a run in the mornings, and you'll be fine. I'm there. I should have more common sense. I think, that's what I do anyways. But I started going for runs in the morning and started just keeping in shape, cutting down coffee. Just literally doing all the kind of simple things that might lower my heart rate, but also make me feel better in the morning. Yeah. And I've been fine.
I know. I'll be honest, man. I just really don't feel like people kind of appreciate how many benefits there are to exercise.
Why don't doctors prescribe it? Why don't they say it? She didn't say it to me ever. She just straight away for prescription.
Lob tablets at you. Yeah. It does aggravate me a bit. I'm not gonna lie. I just think I don't know. Honestly, there's so many benefits. Like, so for weight training, for instance, like I feel, to be honest, weight training's got this kind of bad stigma around it, because it's that's how you get injured. That's how you can damage your back or whatever. And even like I can see, some people I train are quite cautious of doing certain exercises and stuff like that. But like, unless you're like a Ronnie Coleman where you're squatting like 1,000 pounds, then fair enough, you might do some damage to your back.
Dude,
but if you're just some average Joe who's trying to, like I said, keep fit and healthy, like the benefits are mental, man. Like even just from weight training, I think a lot of people don't realise is, so because obviously you're building like lean muscle, it actually helps you burn more calories easier as well. So again, people are like, okay, cardio, that's how you lose weight. Go for a 5-mile run, that's the only way to burn calories, or going cycling. Even weight training, man, like it boosts your metabolism, and for each pound of muscle you gain, you burn 30 to 50 calories per day.
Really?
So if you've got 10 pounds of muscle on you, you're burning anywhere from 300 to 500 calories per day already. Damn. And that's why, you see bodybuilders and they're like eating crazy amounts of food and stuff like that.
Appetite, man, you have such a crazy appetite to it.
So like, again, people don't realise that. Like, I think they feel like, weight training, it's not going to help you lose weight or anything like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I still think, especially if you're like severely overweight, you go on like walks on like an incline, or go on hiking, or if you can, go running, stuff like that. But I think weight training definitely has its benefits. Like even like increasing your bone density as well. Yeah. So you're less likely to break bones, especially as you start to get older. Yeah. Reduce chance of like arthritis. It strengthens your connective tissues as well. Joint stability, so again you get less likely to get injuries. Spinal density, so again if you're like sitting down heaps as well.
Oh, dude, that's the main one.
Yeah, if you're like sitting down a lot,
for city people,
then obviously your spine can kind of get really weak, and you get like a lot of lower back injuries for people who are sat in offices. So if you're doing stuff like weight training, it's going to like improve your posture, reduce back pain, all kinds of stuff. So I just feel like people aren't kind of really aware of that.
Yeah. What do you say to people that, because it's an obvious myth, but people say the only way you can build muscle is through weight training. Have you ever heard that kind of thing when people say that?
Yeah, I've heard it before. Like, I don't think it's the only way you can build muscle. It's probably the most effective way.
Okay.
I think as well, like if you want to build, certain substantial amounts of muscle. Like I feel like obviously you can do things like calisthenic and hits and metcon sessions, and then obviously you can build muscle that way. But I feel like you only get to a certain point.
Weight's going to be like
Interesting. Whereas obviously the difference with weights is you can just keep trying to increase the weight you're lifting.
Exactly.
And therefore you obviously if you get stronger, you're getting bigger muscles. So.
That's the thing, and like you'll see even like for athletes. Even the Last Dance, I remember we spoke about before, but I looked when I researched the personal trainer that Michael Jordan had, and the personal trainer was saying he was strengthening parts of his body to make sure he's had less injuries throughout the season. And strengthening like his knee, the parts of his leg and everything to make sure that later on it just does the opposite effect of making sure there's no injuries later on.
Exactly, yeah.
So, it's like...
It can be pretty beneficial in that sense. And like, don't get me wrong, like there's still a lot of benefits to doing like cardiovascular based exercises and stuff like that, but I think weight training just has this weird kind of stigma around it where people haven't done it before. They're like, that's how you get injuries, that's how you're going to get, like I said, back problems, knee problems and stuff like that. If you're doing it incorrectly and you haven't had someone show how to do the exercises properly, then you probably can have quite a high risk of injuring yourself. But if you're performing the exercises correctly, then there's numerous benefits to it. So.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
Speaking some truth.
Dropping some bombs of
Dropping
wisdom,
some
mate.
bombs. I was going to say, dude, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the problem is, I think it's still a society that we're going backwards. And I think, what do you think?
This was a good point we were sort of discussing earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
Off air.
I think what I was just going to go on to, I remember I read some more reports, but because I'm always really interested in the evolution of humans, in which we've gone so far, yet we've gone so much backwards now as well.
I think, so my point I was saying to you earlier was basically I feel like physically and fitness-wise we're going backwards. And then obviously like mentally and like, in terms of like intelligence, technology, we're obviously going forwards. But I feel like we will, like in 100 years, man, we'll all be like some Gollum-looking motherfuckers, where we're just all like these like weird, decrepit little alien-looking things.
Oh my God.
But like you know, people argue, but you know, we're breaking world records and stuff like that. Like, yeah, we are, because we've got like again better nutrition advice. Yeah, exactly, better nutrition advice, better technology in terms of like shoes you can wear to run, or better training methods. But like you said, that's a very small percentage of those people that are training specifically for that. Yeah. But if you look at the population as a whole, we're definitely going backwards, like, 100%. Like, I guarantee you the fitness levels of, like, on average of every person on the planet would be way lower than what it would have been, like, you know, even like 1,000 years ago, man. Because, again, they're, like, hunting, they're moving around a lot, they're walking miles a day, farming, whatever it is. And,
it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. Like,
I bet their dopamine levels are back when they were cavemen and people that are hunting, and still people to this day. Funny enough, I actually saw a guy that came on to a different podcast that was talking about living in Siberia for a year.
Right,
Yeah, and he was talking about obviously a completely different lifestyle there.
Yeah.
And he was saying the happiness that he had and the mental way he was feeling, not only from obviously doing more exercise because he's going around venturing all day, but when you've caught something, when you've like caught a fish, or when you've done like one thing for the day that you spent the entire day doing, it's like the dopamine you get from it, you're so happy about it.
But it's so rare people do that now.
Exactly, because everything's convenience now.
Yeah, it is. Everything's just too easy. It's like you said, too convenient. I feel, it's such a shame, like modern society, it's all about, you know, the more money you have, the more success you have. Everyone's just chasing, not everyone, but a lot of people just chase money, you know, promotions, success, all that kind of stuff. But I'm telling you, dude, like I feel I'm quite fortunate because I feel like I've experienced both sides of the coin, where I have been in that position where I was in a good sales position, I was earning good money. I've been in a position where I've maybe not been earning quite as much money, but I'm focused on fitness, keeping healthy, etc., moving around. And I'm telling you, I've never been happier doing the latter than, like I said, just sitting at a desk earning good money. I've felt so much more fulfilled, more energetic, more just positive in general. And I think that's something that no one really kind of talks about in society. And
it's a shame.
Even as well, like I feel sorry for people, man. Like the amount of hours they work, just like I said, chasing.
It scares me, man.
Yeah.
That's what probably gave me some of those panic attacks and those kind of moments of anxiety, realization. I'm like, I'm working in a box.
What am I doing? Yeah.
We're sitting down all day.
No sunlight.
Desk. No sunlight. Yeah, dude, that's a big game changer.
Hashtag vitamin D.
Yeah, man. This is.
Fuck's sake. Why do I say these things?
But I think, especially in my job, is on the ground and the sunlight messes you up, man. Like my eyes hurt when I leave the office and I go outside and you get that sunlight. It hurts my eyes, man.
It's like some sort of vampire.
Yeah, dude, it's weird. I come out, my eyes have like a moment where it needs to kind of
it's like adjusting
to it. It's horrible, man. And it's scary. And I think just working in that kind of environment, it's not natural, man.
No, I don't know why everyone's just so okay with it.
Yeah, that's what scares me more. It's actually more people that are cool with that.
Yeah.
That's what gives me the
I
panic.
I used to go mental just sitting there. I like get aggravated just sitting down all day. I'd be like, I get agitated just being like, fuck, I need to move.
Exactly.
I need to, you can get like stand-up desks and shit like that. But again, you're still standing.
How crazy is that?
At the exact same point, all day.
Yeah.
This again, I don't know the specific research of it, but I remember reading about even just standing up in the same position all day is counterproductive and can have damaging effects on your posture, etc., etc. So, and it's not like you need to do 7 workouts a week, friggin' 2 hours a time, and burning 1,000 calories. I'm not saying that at all. Like, how many calories? All right, so Fred's got an injured back at the moment. Yeah. So because he didn't listen to me and didn't stretch before a workout, dickhead. But anyway, so on the treadmill, how long were you on the treadmill for?
So that was throughout your Metcon. It was probably about 20 minutes.
So you're walking on the treadmill for 20 minutes?
I mean, I was literally reading as I was doing it. It wasn't like at any point.
Well, cracking a sweat.
Yeah, not cracking a sweat really.
It was on incline? It
was on the highest incline. Just walked on it for about 20 minutes. And yeah, I burned 200 calories.
Exactly.
Like, which was crazy to me. I was like, did I really burn 200 calories?
And that was just like a casual walk.
Yes, I'm saying, like, you know, and I felt like that actually kind of helped me more. I know my back's pretty bad at the moment, but I'm not doing anything strenuous that will actually make it worse. I was just doing it, and it felt better actually because I felt like I was moving a little bit. Lying in bed all day is going to probably make it worse because you're just stiff all the time.
Yeah.
If it was a bone problem, then I get that, fair enough. But because I can feel like it's kind of a muscle strain, then I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I feel like people can still get those endorphins and good health benefits even from just basically the point I'm trying to go is they can still get benefits even if they're only exercising 30 minutes an hour a day type thing. Like, so I found a study done by the Pennsylvania State University.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Pennsylvania.
They've done some research, people.
And so basically what they've done was they got a group of women for 30 minutes to go on a treadmill. And then they got a group of women to basically do like nothing, and they just carry on doing like their office job, etc.
Right.
And the women that went on the treadmill, it was only I think it was 30 minutes, but I'm not even sure. I should have tried to remember this, but I don't think it was even every day. I think it was only a few times a week. And their immune system improved. They had increased antibodies, and like obviously, so if you know they're trying to avoid catching colds, etc., stop that. They're obviously burning calories as well, going on the treadmill for X amount of time a day. So it had these numerous benefits. And the women who were sedentary and obviously didn't do anything naturally saw no improvement, and even their cortisol levels were much higher than the other women who had been exercising, like I said, just a few times a week. And that's literally just going on a treadmill for 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. Like that's hardly anything, man. Mm-hmm. I just feel like people, even if you just exercise like 3-4 times a week, just an hour, man. Like it's just so much better. And I can guarantee you, if you get into a habit of like the first couple of times you do it, you might feel pretty fucked afterwards and like, this ain't for me. But just push through that barrier, get used to being a little bit uncomfortable, and I just think you would get to the point where it almost becomes addictive. Where we're at, where it's like if you miss a gym session, you're like pissed off.
Horrible,
we're almost the other extreme where we're worried about overtraining.
Exactly. I mean, just to play devil's advocate, and we've already spoken about this a little bit, but I think it's important to also remember how tough it is for somebody to not only do it for the first time, but to actually keep at it. It's so difficult, I think. And
it is, but I think, like I said, if you can just try and be really mentally strong and just keep pushing through, like on those days you don't, I mean, we still get them now, like the amount of times before I work we're like, oh my god, I could not be fucked. Like I'm too tired, I just can't be asked. But once you get into it and once you finish the workout as well, like afterwards you're just like, oh my days, I feel amazing.
I think it's always remember what you're doing it for. That's like, I always try and remember that sometimes. When I come into the first part of it,
what I should be doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I'm saying. And I think it's even like you say, going on a treadmill, even going out for a walk, even getting off the bus one stop earlier, things like that. It adds to it. It's better than sitting on the couch all day or whatever it may be. I think, and I remember I spoke to you about the Australian guy that did the weight loss thing. Upped his weight and lost it. So basically there's a guy that within 1 year, a personal trainer that decided he's gonna, with his client, put on all the weight. He's gonna eat fast food, not exercise, pretty much put as much weight on as possible. And then halfway through the year, he'll then drop it and start doing exercise again to then come back to the second half of the year in which he then loses it and becomes shredded again. And it's just crazy to see how hard it was for him when he got to that halfway point and he put on all that weight. And the hardest part was for him mentally, just he didn't want to train. He was crying constantly. His mood there were so many imbalances in his mood, the way he felt. And you can kind of see from that point, you're like, damn, it's so hard for people that just don't do it, man.
The mental, physical health benefits is just, like I said, I could go on for 3 hours about it.
That'd be really good.
Honestly,
So I think there's a lot to it pretty much when it comes to that side of it. I remember I was going to talk about a study from the caveman perspective and the kind of tribe hunting and whatnot. But I looked into a study because, like I said, I'm really into the kind of evolution and how we're pretty much going backwards. And this is looked at during this current time now. Obviously, you've got to take into perspective the difference between obviously looking at tribes now since back then is probably a bit of a difference still. But now there was a study that was done in Tanzania. I keep saying Tanzania. So Tanzania. And basically what happened was they did a study to see the difference between obviously how much physical exercise do they do over there when they're doing, say, they're hunting, they're even picking berries from trees.
This was a tribe over there, yeah?
Yes, it was like a tribe, yeah, pretty much like a tribe over there. I believe it's in East Africa, in Tanzania, yeah. And
Tanzania?
No, it's Tanzania.
I know it's Tanzania.
Yeah, I know, you're trying to confuse me now. So basically,
Okay.
and what happened was, so yeah, they literally are picking berries, they're getting, finding food for the day. They maybe go into other kind of tribes and, to socialize. And there's different kind of things.
Catching up.
Yeah, catching up. No, it's true, exactly. It's good. Never know, might catch up, swipe on Tinder, might find someone over there. So what happened is they put these kind of heart rate monitors around each of them.
Yeah.
And what happened was these heart rates were to test basically, so MVPA. So what MVPA is moderate to vigorous physical activity. So pretty much they'll see like in the heart rate between maybe about 50 to 90%, and see how long do they keep in that kind of part of their
that range
pretty much, exactly. And so the recommended amount in the US is basically to do 150 minutes per week from moderate to vigorous physical activity and to keep in that heart rate kind of zone.
Of 50 to 90%.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah, exactly. So and then yes, it's about 150 minutes per week, and that's what they recommend.
That's fuck all.
Which I think is
when
actually
you think
not much.
about it,
exactly, that's how much they recommend still.
That's like 2.5 hours?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. 2.5 hours of, basically moderate to intense.
Yeah, that should definitely be doable, man.
So,
if you're being honest.
Yeah, and what they did was, so for those people that were in the tribe, they checked it, and they did, actually have a guess how much they did per day.
How much in that heart rate?
In that heart rate, how long over time?
Well,
it's not a lot, it's not amazing, but it is a lot still, but...
2.5 hours a day, 150 minutes.
Damn, they're close. So it's 75 minutes per day.
Right.
So,
okay, so I was way over the top.
Yeah, so they'll do 75 minutes per day.
Yeah, I was getting a bit ambitious there.
That's them doing the recommended amount in 2 days for a week.
Yeah.
Do you know
But I can imagine that because they're constantly, like you said, like moving around, doing shit, man.
It's the convenience of things. You got to realize, and that's where the dopamine comes in as well, because we could go to the shop, buy whatever we need, fish, meat, whatever, and it's so easy. We don't even feel like impressed that we managed to get it. You know what I mean? And for them, it's like they need to walk to get to this thing. They need to run here. They might need to hunt something.
I wonder as well. Sorry, I was going to say. I wonder as well if they like genuinely feel like more satisfied in life, even though they have like way less, possessions and materialistic things. But I guarantee, if you did like some sort of mental test on them, they probably feel like a lot more fulfilled and happier.
For sure. I think it's also because they don't know any better. Because now it's partly obviously social media technology, but it's like we constantly need something new.
That's what I mean.
For them, it might be the next day. They might find this piece of meat or this piece of...
They just catch this thing they've been hunting for a while.
Exactly, dude. It's just the gratitude for it.
Yeah.
And because, they've got that set type, people that they have in that tribe that they don't really feel like, they don't know any better. They're like, this is family, this is all we need.
Yeah.
And then they looked at, obviously, the US and how many people do the same amount. So the amount they do per day for the people in the US is 10 minutes per day. That's the average.
In that heart rate?
Yeah. 10 minutes per day compared to 75 for a tribe.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
So, yeah. Think about that, dude.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
honestly, though, at the same time, I say it's crazy, but it doesn't surprise me because, like I said, we're just such sedentary beings.
Yeah, it's pretty scary, to be fair. I remember you said something about like tribes in which they do they'll be hunting for days, or they'll have a specific technique in which they'll follow the...
Yeah, there's a guy called Ross Edgley. I remember I was reading his book, his first book, The World's Fittest Book, and I think he was talking about a tribe he spent some time with in Africa, and he was basically saying the hunting technique they did is they basically just hunt something out of exhaustion.
Yeah.
So they'd be tracking it for like I said, hours, days, and even the technique they had for running, they would put minimal weight down on their feet when they're running, and just such a smooth sort of running technique, and they could do it for hours and hours on end.
Crazy.
So that was pretty interesting as well. It's kind of, I guess, a bit random, but
quite interesting. No, but it's out tiring the kind of the mountain. You're out tiring the
they would literally out tire animals in the friggin' safari.
Exactly. And imagine how they felt after that. They caught it after that long of just working for it, exercising. And the same way we might do a CrossFit and we're working through it man, this might be... I don't know, different kind of workout. But even with the running, it's you get to a point, and we always call it the wall basically, that you hit the
Oh,
wall.
man. Every time I go running with you, I hit the frigging wall.
Exactly. So you
After
hit
like
that
5
wall.
minutes.
Yeah. Do you think that's when you hit the wall, and then that extra part afterwards? That's where you're like, that kind of threshold is where you're like, okay, man. Then you feel even better afterwards.
Well, that's also where you would be increasing like your lung capacity and
Exactly.
and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically to hone in on it, I just think it kind of bums me out a bit when people don't at least even try and exercise and just try and be consistent with it, because I feel like they're missing out on a lot in terms of physical benefits, mental benefits, obviously improving your health as well. And like, you know, I've had a lot of friends of mine who don't really train, sort of say, you know, they get quite insecure about training in the gym. I don't know if you get people like who come into the gym and say that as well, like they feel
One of the biggest things I'd say.
yeah, and like they're worried about what people think. I don't know, man. I'll be honest. I don't. Even if people are like glancing over at you and that when you're training, I don't really think, unless you're doing like some absurd technique on an exercise where, you know, it's like you're going to injure yourself. Something, people don't really care. Like they're probably not actually paying that much attention to what you're doing. And even if they are, like, who gives a shit? Like, just get in there, do your thing, and you feel so much better for it if you can just be consistent with it. But I think as well, like, I don't want to put it all on people like saying, you know, they're slack or they need to just get on with it and do it, because I do 100% understand where some people are coming from, where they're in these jobs where they're working like 11, 12 hours a day and they just physically don't have the time or energy to do it. And I think that's one thing that, yeah, like I've kind of, to reiterate a previous point, it does bum me out a bit where society just doesn't really kind of value that aspect of life anymore, where it's like people need time to exercise.
Yeah, I think some companies are going in that direction. To be fair, you get a
a
lot
little
of
bit, but
I think,
how many people think about it, in a like a, you know, lawyers, accountants, sales jobs, how many people actually, like, you know, everyone's like 9 to 5 you work for, how many people actually work 9 to 5?
Dude, I've
no one does anymore.
Nobody does that, and it's funny the amount of people that I obviously
when I say no one does, I mean they do it longer, just to
yeah,
not less.
I think the amount of people that I've signed up and then they tell me the kind of goals they have, and it's never the fact that they'll never be able to do what they actually say they do. Like, you know, especially lawyers as well, and they say, I want to come in 3 times a week, I want to come in before work. So rare you see them, man. They're literally like, do you know what I mean? It's just so difficult.
Yeah.
They say it's not 9 to 5 because they might get something that comes up in the morning. They might get this that comes up. They might have a meeting last minute. It's horrible, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
it's a shame, man, because like I said, I kind of wish, you know, I just, from my own experience, you know, I'm still only 25, I've not exactly got thousands of bits of life experience, but from my experience so far is that I've learned basically fuck chasing money, and, you know, I feel you just feel so much happier if you're fulfilled in what you're doing, you're keeping fit and healthy, and you're just enjoying life, man. I think that's one area we kind of really do go wrong in this day and age. Like, if you're in a job already that you friggin' love, then awesome. But I just think a lot of people, if they're brutally honest with themselves, don't really feel fulfilled in what they're doing. And like I said, I think, yeah, a lot of depression and sort of certain mental, I diagnosed, like when people are diagnosed with mental depression and other issues, like, could be resolved by exercise.
Yeah.
100%.
Crazy,
Genuinely
man.
believe that.
I genuinely believe that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we both speak from experience, man. Like,
Yeah.
our hormonal balances, everything, man.
Yeah, if I didn't exercise for like 2 weeks, like no exercise at all, I would go mental, dude. Like, it would really affect me in a negative way.
I mean, that's what lockdown is, pretty much, dude. How many
Yeah,
people
well,
go crazy?
we've been blessed. We can obviously use the studio for the last sort of like couple of weeks, but yeah, before that I was struggling.
Yeah.
And but to give people like a pick me up as well, because I feel like we're just like shutting everything down.
Yeah.
But like, to give people a pick me up, like, you can get genuinely awesome results. Like, just try training, just try getting into the gym. Whether it's, you know, find something you enjoy as well. You don't have to do weight training. You don't have to do long distance running. You know, you could do swimming. You could do friggin' kayaking if you got access to a kayak. You could go on like long bike rides and stuff like that. Join, you know, like a bike racing team or whatever it is that kind of floats your boat. But I'm telling you, dude, like, you'll just get so many good benefits from it, and if you can keep consistent at it, you will genuinely get good results as well. You've got to give it time, but if you stick to the diet, that's, you know, pretty reasonably healthy. You don't have to take it to the extremes I do, where, you know, I have one cheat meal a week and that sort of stuff. Then yeah, you can get some awesome results.
Man, there's so many cool sports out there. There's so many cool societies you can join. There's so many cool different types of gyms, different types of, and man,
yeah, even different types of gyms as well.
That's what I'm saying. Even the yoga, Pilates, things like that.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many different forms of exercise, and there's so many different ways you can do it that, actually, you know, I don't feel there's any excuses really you can use, because there's so many options and ways to try it. And when people say I need this kind of equipment, I'm like, go for a run, go for a walk, put on some shoes, just go for a walk or a run.
Yeah.
It will change your life.
Yeah, 100%. Or even like, you know, if you're catching a 10-minute bus to work, just walk to work, man.
That's what I told you, man.
Or
Honestly.
like you said, yeah, get off like a couple stops earlier and just walk home. Like, it just gives you time to like reflect and just be with your thoughts.
Yeah, dude, like a bicycle, like cycling to work is probably another way that's saved my mind a lot.
Yeah,
It's just a freedom. You get half an hour where I'm just like listen to music, go on the road, just cycling, and your heart rate's gone up a little bit as well. So I come into work sweating. I'm like, I'm ready for my day. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's
100%
crazy,
set the
man.
day off right.
Rather than sitting in a bus, you know, people got your armpits all over your head, and
Well,
like.
London's the worst for it as well, isn't it?
Exactly,
Like,
dude.
mate, the underground, Jesus.
Exactly, man. You're in a concrete jungle. You're on the underground with hundreds of people trying to get to
Concrete
work.
jungle where dreams are made.
Oh.
Big shout out to Alicia Keys, baby girl.
Baby girl.
Alright, on that note, let's wrap it up.
Right, let's wrap it up, Alicia.
Embarrass
Thank
myself. But quick shout out, definitely tune into next episode, and we'll be giving you some awesome tips on nutrition, because my mate Henry Barlow's coming on, who has a degree in nutrition and knows his shit, to put it in
Exactly. So we might cover some of the topics that we spoke about today.
Yes.
Obviously more nutrition based, and he's going to be the best guy. He's going to be our first guest as well. So that's going to be pretty awesome.
Exciting times, man.
So tune in for that, and see you guys for the next episode. Peace.
Peace.